Me alegro de volver a verte.
Eso es lo que está pasando.
¡Guau! Deslizamiento temporal.
¿Lo conoces?
Sí.
¿Lo has visto?
Sí.
¿Puedes arreglarlo?
No.
Hi, Dan. I'm Pedro from Cartelera, Spain. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Season 2 of Loki is completely mind-blowing in many ways, especially regarding the plot, which is so intricate and complex. From a directing point of view, how do you deal with all of the time slipping and all the jumps and the intertwined threads and everything that's happening at the same time?
Well, a lot of it comes with preparation. We spent a lot of time in pre-production going over the scripts and workshopping the scripts. It was a very unique experience with the team in terms of the openness, where we had multiple directors for different episodes, and we would basically all go to the our writers' room with the writers and our executive producer, and when we went over the episodes, all of us were there for all the episodes in the season. So it wasn't just your episode. And so everyone could see how the scripts were being developed and contribute and pitch ideas. And then the actors would come in and join us, and we would listen to their thoughts. And it was a very open and free room to bounce ideas and incorporate them into the story. And once that was figured out, a lot of the complexity was already mapped, and so you didn't really get tripped up too much. And when you suddenly have to jump from one timeline to another timeline, and the multiverse is this.
Among many other MCU projects, you worked on Quantumania, right? Which is linked directly to Loki. Specifically, this season continues the thread of He Who Remains and sort of rewrites some of the story. What was it like working on the character in Loki after Quantumania?
Well, it was interesting because I had worked on visual effects for Loki season 1, and then left that show and then went straight to Quantumania. So it was interesting because I had the view of what happened with the multiverse being born, having been on that show, and was able to kind of liaise, well, this is what we did on Loki, and then went off of Quantumania and then came back on the season 2. So it's interesting that I have this continuity of multiversal science and strategies in terms to deal with it. So, as one was saying, and then within the confines of just the season 1 and season 2, we've had, Kevin Ryder, executive producer. It's been his baby for the past 5 years. So he's basically the knowledge base. And so, you bounce ideas. It's like, so what's the loom doing again? And you just have this giant, the fun conversations of the giant made up science, that sounds enough true that you can believe it.
Well, let's talk a bit about the cast, because they're amazing. As in season 1, even better. Tell me about the opportunities that arise for you as a director, having duos with such amazing chemistry as Loki and Sylvie, or Loki and Mobius, and basically everyone, because the cast is electric.
Yeah, it's all about the relationships, and it's the chemistry between the characters, and that's where, coming from season 1, a lot of that had been established, in terms of, but from different points of view, and the relationships, being redefined and changed based on Sylvie finally getting accomplishing her mission of taking down the TVA. And so we came into season 2 with those same types of relationships and chemistry, but it was definitely something that would now have changed, because now Sylvie is no longer on that mission. She is now in a place where she's done with that, and she wants her own space, and she wants free will. And Loki now has kind of left a lot of the villain nature behind, is now kind of actually leading and trying to solve a problem. He's not Captain America by any means, but it's something Cap would do to start leading this, and suddenly you have Loki. So it's the same type of chemistry, but the roles have switched, and I find that very interesting.
Speaking of redefining characters, the TVA is a character in itself. We see the agency in a new light in this season, also the characters and their motivations in relation to it. What was it like, unleashing that chaos in the TVA in this season and the timelines in these new episodes and contributing to that?
Well, it's interesting. You've got, you're starting to understand the power that He Remains really had. You knew you had the idea of the training video was represented by an animation, and it was all simplified so that you could pull any variant you wanted off the timeline and get them to work there. But suddenly now you're seeing the true power of what it's the Wizard of Oz. It's seeing behind the curtain, and then the mechanics and inventing the lore of that technology, and seeing how violently it all might turn based on not having any pruning the timelines. And so it's an interesting world building experience to kind of get that kind of giant universe around a story of trying to save it, but a lot of interpersonal relationships as well.
Okay, so I need to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on a great season.
Thank you very much.
¿Esto es una grieta?
¡Ya está!
Hagamos lo que hagamos. Jugamos a ser Dios.
Somos dioses.